Welcome to another video from Robotic Mower Services. In this video here, we're going to talk about our maintenance kits that we introduced a few weeks ago that a lot of people were interested in, but then many other people were kind of questioning like, hey, what's this for? What are these things? When do I need to change this stuff? So we're going to give you some information on the parts included, what models these kits fit, and where some of these parts go. So we're going to start out here by telling you currently we have two different kits. We have the one that will fit your 430, 450, 520, and 550 variations of mowers. So that would be your high cuts, low cuts, and even the E-post mowers. They would all work with this kit that we have. And that kit includes two front tires, the cutting system bellows, a chassis sealing strip, a chassis air filter, and we have two options there, either 3 blades or 5 blades, depending on which cutting disc you have on your mower. Our second kit is for the older 300 series mowers, your 310, 315, and 315X, and that kit includes the two rubber front tires for your caster wheels, two sealing strips, one for the chassis and then one for the cutting module compartment, two air filters, and again, 3 blades or 5 blades depending on the cutting disc that you have on your mower. Alright, so let's get into the components of these kits here. Obviously, both kits have the rubber tires in there. Why do we have the rubber tires in there? Well, these rubber tires actually act like a rubber seal in between your inner and outer plastic wheel halves. So what happens is when that rubber tire starts to get soft, the mower starts to ride more on the plastic wheel halves, and when they wear down, then they can't grip onto the tire as good. That's when you start to see the tire flop around a little bit, and you start to get water in there, you start to get dirt in there, you get the bearing failure. So instead of replacing that, couple dollar rubber tire that seals everything up and keeps the plastic outer halves of the wheel in good shape, you're replacing whole caster wheel assemblies for a lot more money and taking a lot more time to do so. So we got the two rubber tires in there. We honestly recommend for all the day more that they cost, just replace them every year because these things get a lot of miles on them, and it's not going to take long for those rubber tires to start to wear down and start to get a little soft, So it's just some good preventative maintenance. Just replace those tires every year. The chassis sealing strips. We have one in there in our kit for the 430s, 450s, 520s, 550s. That's obvious there. It's going to go in that groove, go the whole way around the chassis to seal up the lower chassis half and the upper chassis half when you put them back together. You might be saying, well, why do I have to have them apart? Well, you're going to find out. The kit for the 300 series, we have two chassis seals in there. You're probably thinking, oh, well, one chassis seal for the whole way around, the other one from up there at the keypad. No, you have one chassis seal that goes the whole way around the outside of the lower chassis, and then you have one that goes around in the middle of the lower chassis where your cutting module compartment is at. To keep everything sealed up that comes into there from getting into your circuit boards and everything. So that's why you have a long sealing strip and a short sealing strip in that kit for the 300 series mowers. The blades, pretty self-explanatory. We want everybody to start off with a fresh set of blades. So again, it depends if you have a 3-blade disc on your mower or a 5-blade disc on your mower. Make sure to check that when you order. The other thing we got in there are the filters, the chassis filter, the white disc that sticks on there. So on your 450s, your 430s, 450s, 520s, and 550s that are non-EPOS. This is at the front of the mower, right there in the center. So on your 430s and 450s, what you'd want to do is pry off that nose piece at the front, get in there and remove the hinge assembly for your hatch cover for your keypad, and that filter is right under there. Of course, you got to remove the body to do that. So on your 520s and 550s that are non-EPOS, you're going to remove the body off there, off the chassis, and you're going to take the screws out to take this big long cover off of the top, and then that filter is still there at that same location. It's just a different process to get to it. On the EPOS models, though, the chassis filter is at the back by your stop button. So you got to remove the body, remove this assembly back here with the stop button, and then right there is your filter. Now, in the kit for the 300 series mowers, you're probably wondering why we have two filters in there. Well, that mower actually has two filters on it. So the one for the chassis is at the back, and a lot of people think, oh, this is just a speaker for the alarm, but that's actually where your chassis filter is at. You want to pry in on the little tabs there and remove this black cover back here, this little grill. Remove it, and then in behind there is your chassis filter. The second filter that comes in that kit actually goes on top of the cutting motor. And the way you access this is you have the mower split open, and in there on top of your cutting motor, you have the height adjustment system. You want to remove those 4 screws and take that height adjustment system off there, and right there is your filter for your cutting motor. And this is an important one. A lot of people miss this one, but that gets some dust and dirt and debris in there, and the air can't flow through there. That's why that cutting motor will overheat in those hot days of summer when it's under a heavy load for long periods of time, and causes the premature failure of that electric cutting motor. So this is definitely an important one that you want to make sure that you replace. Now, in our kit for the 430s, 450s, 520s, and 550s, we have the cutting system bellows in there. That's the rubber accordion piece that goes on the bottom of your cutting motor, between the cutting motor and the chassis, so that when the cutting motor is raised up or down to change the height, it stays sealed up. To replace this, you're going to have to split the mower open, and you're going to have to unplug the cutting motor from the main board. Then you have to flip the mower over, and you remove the bearing cover, the skid plate, the bearing hub assembly, the cutting disc, and then your cutting motor, and pull it out. And then you can attach remove the old bellows from the chassis, then attach the new bellows to the chassis. Put your cutting motor back in there, put your cutting disc back on, your bearing hub assembly, your skid plate, and your bearing cover on there, and then flip the mower over. And that's where the chassis seal comes in. You got to replace it, plug the cutting motor back into the main board, fasten everything back together. That's the replacement process for that one. We have videos for all of this stuff to show you how to replace the chassis seal, the proper way to put it in there in that groove. Replacing that entire cutting system on your 430s, 450s, 520s, and 550s, whether it's E-post, non-E-post, doesn't matter, it's all the same. Speaking of that, now there was a recommended chart that Husqvarna used to put in the manuals for all these components, and the cutting system bellows, that's one that they recommended be replaced between every third and fifth full season. On the E-post mowers, I wouldn't hesitate to go 2 seasons, because on the E-post mowers, that thing's going to get a lot more up and down wear, and it's always good to pull that apart just to check all that stuff out inside there in your cutting height adjustment system. The reason why they get more wear is because every time it comes out to go mow somewhere, it goes through that calibration process, so it's moving everything up and down, where your other models that aren't E-posts, they're going in there, they're charging, they're coming back out, cutting height stays the same all the time. It doesn't have to calibrate for any reason unless you really tell it to. But on the E-post mowers and also on your all-wheel drives, they do the same thing. When they come out of the charging station, they go through that calibration process because they want to make sure they're at the right cutting height based on the area they're going to mow at. It's just the nature of the beast. So definitely want to do that every 3 to 5 seasons, like it says from Husqvarna. But on the E-post ones, like I said, you might want to do that every 2 seasons. Just like we recommend the tires, instead of waiting around for them to actually go bad, just replace them every season. The chassis filter and the filter there on the cutting motor, they actually recommend that you replace that every season. A lot of people didn't realize that, but yeah, you replace that every season on all models of Automowers. The other one would be your front bearings on your wheels. When you have the tires apart, or you have the caster wheel part there to put the new tire on it, doesn't hurt to take that retaining ring off there and put some grease in there to help protect those bearings. Simple thing to do, but obviously you have to order another retaining ring to put back on there to keep everything together, which we have available on our website, www.roboticmowerservices.com. The other thing here would be the chassis sealing strip, and Husqvarna actually recommends that you replace that every 3 seasons, whether you had the mower open or not. Open it up, replace that chassis seal, because over time, the body's going to be out there in the hot sun, it's going to flex, The chassis is going to flex, you know. You just want to take it apart to clean everything out, make sure there's no signs of water getting into it. And obviously, on the 300 series mower, you have to take it apart to be able to replace that filter on the cutting motor. And again, even on the 400s and 500s there, you have to take it apart to replace that cutting system bellows. So just a normal routine thing, really. And a lot of people neglect that, and then they wonder why they have problems, you know, with this stuff getting moisture in there, or dirt and debris in there, or motors failing prematurely because they've been running hot because they can't get enough air in there to cool them down. That is the whole reason for these kits, just to make all this easier for you and to make more people aware that this stuff actually needs done and why it needs done. So these kits are available on our website, www.roboticmowerservices.com. Go in there, check them out. Anything else you need as far as buying a new Automower, Automower parts, Automower accessories, that's the place to go, www.roboticmowerservices.com. You can also find a lot of tech support on there. You can find a lot of other good videos on there from us. And if you can't find what you're looking for, you can reach us two different ways. You hit the contact button on there, and you can send us an email to info@roboticmowerservices.com for all the general questions. If you need more tech support, something more technical, then send that to tech support@roboticmowerservices.com. And we do ask that you include the model number, serial number of your mower, date of purchase if you can, as much information as possible when you have a technical issue with your mower that you're looking to get help for. Just make sure to put as much in there about the mower as you can, so it makes it a little bit easier for us to help diagnose it and figure out what's going on with it. All right, well, that's going to do it for this video here. Go ahead and order you a maintenance kit. Get to work on that during the off season here. Biggest thing I can tell you, though, is be sure to subscribe to this channel and keep checking back, because we've always got new material coming out. All right, thanks for watching.